All right, we are live. Hello, everyone. Thanks for stopping by. Excited that we have Mel Doerr, the Aloha Shirt Psychic, in the house with us. How's everything going, Mel?
I'm hanging in there. How about you,
Yeah,
Kevin?
same here. Same here.
Um, I do got to do an infomercial on my
Yes.
Italy trip. I've got room for about 25 people on the trip. I've still, a lot of people are inquiring. I think I got back to everybody. But if you're interested, you can email me www.meldorr.com or call my office 847-590-5411. 847-590-5411. So I'm excited. I got to say hello to Lisa. Um, I just talked to her and I told her I'd say hi. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
So anyway,
Yeah, and if things are a little bit hard with my situation at the moment, but if I was able to, I would definitely go. I think that's going to be a really amazing trip, Mel. And I've always wanted to go to Italy, so one of these days. But it's going to be a fun time.
um, thank you,
Yeah.
Kevin. I'm going down here. I'm starring some things for you.
Yeah. Well, while Mel's doing that, let me just do a couple housekeepings real quick. I would greatly appreciate it if you could hit the like button and please subscribe to my channel. Help me get that 6,000 subscriber goal, getting pretty close to that. And if you haven't already, please go over to Mel Doerr's channel and subscribe to his channel.
Yeah, because when I get to 18,000, I'll give away 3 free half-hour sessions. That's hard to say. 3 free, 3
Free,
free
free.
half-hour sessions. And I'm going to start. If you go to the page and hit the join button,
Oh,
if
members.
if you're a member for 3 months or more, you get a $25 discount on a session,
Oh,
uh,
nice.
and that's only once good for once a year though. And then we'll be going live at some point for members only, a couple
Fun,
times a
fun,
month. So
fun, fun. I always enjoy that extra time with my members as well. It's always a fun time. We just did some 2023 like monthly energy readings um, for our collective group, and that was pretty
well,
fun.
I'll do something like ask a question or
Yeah.
as many as I can answer, but I just never knew how to get members before. Now, not subscribe, that's different. Subscribe, and please subscribe because we'll do shows for our subscribers as well.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
if you're a member, it's probably easier to be in the chat section because
Mm. And actually have like conversation because it's not so chaotic or so busy. Not
right.
so many people. Yeah.
Oh, we've got Lena Delgado who said it's her first live. Hey, glad to
Well,
have
thanks
you
for
with us.
joining us, Lena. All right, you all. So we're going to do political world event questions today. So if you have any questions, go ahead and write them in all caps. You can do a couple heart emojis, and me and Mel will get to as many questions as possible today.
I
Was
thought
there
I said,
anything that you've seen like in the news, Mel,
oh,
or
yes.
that you want to talk about?
Well, remember when we talked about that other network that starts with an
Mm-hmm.
F
Yeah.
and that Dominion would bring a lot of lawsuits against them and there would be a lot of lawsuits coming against them. Well, I just heard today that what's the guy's name? Rupert Murdoch, who owns
Yeah.
it, has been subpoenaed to I think for deposition or something,
Mm-hmm.
or to testify. I forget what it was, in this lawsuit. So, I mean, I think they're suing for 1 point something billion.
Yeah.
And if they're smart, they'll settle this out of court.
Well,
But
we've kind of said it all along too that
I don't think Dominion's lawyers want to settle it just yet
no, I
because
agree
I
with
think
you.
they want the publicity
Mhm.
just to clear their name. And this is not looking good for that network. And then what's now happening, my guides show me, or what will happen, other people will come forward and sue that network,
Mm.
that news network, for lies. And guess what? They're going to have to pay a lot of that stuff. So they're going to lose lots of money.
Oh, yeah. And we've been saying that for a while too. We felt like
Oh,
multiple lawsuits and them really losing a lot of money and at some point because of this loss of money and rebranding, they are going to have to come a little bit more to the center than where
well,
they're at
and,
now.
and gain some credibility.
Yeah, it's going to take them a while, if at all, if ever. All right, we got some good. Mel, just be careful. If you start questions, make sure that I haven't already started them because you'll unclick them.
Oh, but I can see if they're start or not.
Yeah, you can see that they're highlighted blue.
Right.
All right.
Um,
Yeah, I saw that briefly on the news. That Dominion was going after Murdoch, I'm with you. If it doesn't get settled beforehand, it's going to cost them a lot of money.
I agree.
All right, let's look at this. Will removing the magnetometers? Hold on. Will removing the magnetometers at Congress allow any gun violence? I read on this on Tuesday. I definitely felt like. Do you keep clicking on that?
I'm sorry. Yes. I
Um,
just don't know what it is. It's like a lot of things after it. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I read on this on Tuesday on my show, and I felt like there was plots, but that they were being watched really, really carefully, and I feel like any plots will be thwarted, is what I was feeling.
Um, well, I mean, it's going to be a real circus in the House.
Mm.
I mean, he put Marjorie Taylor Greene, Boebert, Bibles, babies, and Jesus on the oversight committee. So it's Marjorie Taylor Greene, Boebert, and two more MAGA Republicans, and they're going to oversee and ethics and stuff like that, which to me was a real joke because they're about as ethical as the Pay 12
Yeah,
diarrhea award. So,
putting
um,
MTG on the National Security
oh yeah,
Committee is just that's terrifying.
oh yeah. So I, you know, um, I see at some point magnetometer is going back up.
Oh,
So,
me too.
but how much you want to bet if it was one of those MAGA people who had somebody injured or themselves due to gun violence, they would be the first ones screaming.
Right. Well, and then you see what's going on in like New Mexico with um, that MAGA congressperson that lost the race and then was behind, attacking Democrats in the state office.
Yeah, I mean
Crazy.
it's getting out of hand.
Yeah, it really is. But yes, I agree. I see them coming back shortly, and let's us all put out good vibes of protection. But I think any plan is going to be thwarted.
I'm sorry I couldn't hear you.
So any neg any bad plan about
I
when
got you.
people were removed, I think that they'll be thwarted. All right. Linda Bishop says, was the helicopter crash in Ukraine an act of vengeance by Russia?
I didn't see about the helicopter crash, so I don't know anything about it.
It had like the person in charge of like their interior security, I believe. I don't remember what the actual title was. Who passed away, and I think it like crashed into like a school and hurt some kids too, or killed some kids. I'm gonna throw a couple cards on it.
I don't think Russia had anything to do with it. I'm not
Yeah,
picking that up. Um, but I do think with those, we had said one thing about those. I don't want to get off the subject
yeah.
here, but when they said, I'm sorry, they found more papers that Biden supposedly had. And I got a funny feeling that those were planted. And I said
Mhm.
that right along. And Linda Grindle said something last night, and my light bulb went on. She
Yeah,
said
what's
that
that?
psychically she felt that somebody in the Secret Service put them there.
Mm,
I totally agree. And I think that Trump's people are talking to Putin's people, and they're orchestrating those papers being put in, in key places where Biden was to deflect and divert all of the attention from Trump and the papers he stole and probably the
mm,
secrets he gave to them. So, I don't put anything past Trump or Putin.
right. Yeah, I'm not picking up sabotage or an active vengeance by Russia. Um, to me, it kind of feels like it kind of went out of control. Is what I was kind of picking up, like maybe like a malfunction with the helicopter. but I'm not feeling it as a deliberate attack. Just more
Uh,
of an accident.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think yeah, there was yeah, I got a funny feeling it was a mechanical error. That's what I
Mhm.
picked up.
Yeah.
That was a good question, though. Thanks, Linda.
Mhm. All right. Well, this is a
Hi,
good
Sharon.
question.
Sharon's here. Um, Go ahead, Kevin. I'll let you read that one.
Yeah. Spiritual Seeker asks, will Russia continue to want to destroy our democracy after Putin's death? I've said for a while, after Putin's gone, it feels like there's somebody briefly that comes in that is they're in there very briefly, but I do see Russia. It feels like a revolution over there. At some point, I actually think that you know Russia will get to the point where they've kind of proven themselves to the world that they are much better than what they were under Putin. An ally. So I see things really slowing down with Russia trying to undermine our democracy after Putin's gone.
Well, I agree. I think after Poopkin is gone,
Mm,
um, there'll be somebody, one of his cronies or something like that, to take over, but that person won't last. I
yeah,
see a lot of protesting in the streets, and I ultimately see democracy restored
yeah,
and a lot of changes in the parliament in Russia. Another thing, I had some people from Belarus um, who said that a lot of people in Belarus do not like Lukashenko
mm,
and they want him gone. And they were saying that Putin was trying to get Lukashenko to invade Ukraine, but Lukashenko's like, I don't know. And so, I see, once Putin is gone, I see Lukashenko gone, or Lukashenko, however you say his name.
yeah,
And I keep thinking that that country and even Russia will be very near civil war.
mm.
So I think once Putin is gone, you know, I can see at some point, I know it's going to sound crazy, but maybe Russia working with this country to stop all these Putin loving MAGA
Mm.
Republicans from doing any more damage.
And just think after Putin's gone, I feel like a lot of that intel of Russia's involvement into our politics um, is going to be exposed too. A
Oh,
lot of
absolutely.
information coming out. Yeah,
And it's going to come back to bite Trump and a lot of his cronies in the butt. Even, and what I see with the Secret Service as well is somebody coming forward from the Secret Service is going to spill the beans that those papers were planted.
yeah,
And it was in some way or another saying they'll have knowledge that it came indirectly that from Russia, from Putin,
hmm
and the Trump's people were
and maybe that's
collaborating with
when that
Putin to do
Mueller
it.
report comes back to the surface too, because we
Correct.
definitely feel like that coming back up to the surface.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you for the question, spiritual seeker. A lot of people keep on wanting to know um, if Putin is dead, and I think Zelensky. I don't think Putin's been seen in a while, so I think that's where the speculation comes. I'm not picking up dead, but I feel like near death, like very, very weak. Um, and I've often said I feel like Putin is going to transition pretty soon.
I I pick up um
I think he's recovering from something right now because
and
I'm
by
seeing
the
him in a
time
bed.
in Belarus, I see that a lot of those people that are in the military, I see a lot of them going over to help Ukraine and a lot of
Hmm.
Russian soldiers as well. With Putin, you know, Stalin isolated himself. Stalin didn't see anybody except maybe his housekeeper, who was also his
Yeah.
girlfriend. And Stalin had a list of names, and every day he would mark them, and those are the people that would die. They think he killed like 40 million people.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
and so Putin is doing the same thing. I think he's very paranoid, and I think he's isolated himself from almost everything and everybody. And
Mm. Yeah,
so I feel he's very sick. He's not dead yet.
I agree. I see him in a bed though, so he's either recovering or like bedridden right now is what I'm kind of feeling. Maybe that's why he hasn't been out as much. But I don't think Putin will be around for much longer.
Well, I think that probably um, I was just trying to think of some. Oh, I know. I think that Zelensky started that,
Mm,
like, to make Putin look weak and discredit him. And then
yeah,
people will start to speculate, is he dead or is he alive? And it's misinformation, but they did it to uh, they did it to cause morale issues
yeah,
with the Russian troops and things like that. But I think Zelensky knows that Putin is very ill.
yeah. And a lot of
Like
people,
I
there's
saw.
been a lot of reports of people around Putin saying that he's been ill. All right.
I'm just going through here starring some, Kevin. I hope you don't mind.
Oh, you're fine. Thank you for helping.
Oh, everybody hit the thumbs up icon, please.
Yes, this is a good one. Miss Orchid's Garden asked, will Demings, who lost to Rubio, run for office in 2024?
I see him running for an office. Yes.
No, Val Demings is a senator. She lost in Florida.
Oh,
I
her.
but I got I'm feeling a yes too, Mel.
I don't know why I said he. It's like
You're okay. You're probably thinking Rubio.
I see her running again,
Hmm.
and at some point, I see her winning.
Yeah. Well, and I think her
Thank you, Sharon. Sharon's putting up how to contact us. That is so sweet,
thank
Sharon.
you so much, Sharon Sight. I was gonna say, I think that the guy that took her seat, I think is gonna be in there for a while, but I definitely see her running for office again, maybe in a different position. Um, yeah,
Um,
and I see her being successful with a run in the future.
I'll tell you who's going to be in deep trouble is DeSatan in Florida.
Oh yeah.
Now he's trying to ban them teaching African American studies.
Mm.
It's like
And he's
crazy.
losing a lot of teachers too. A lot of teachers have quit.
Well, a lot. If this goes to the Supreme Court, and there's a lot of infighting in the Supreme Court, I understand. I
Mhm.
see 2 or 3 new justices coming on board, you all. You heard it.
Yeah.
You heard it here. Our guide's been telling this for a long time. So I think
I
that.
always felt like Biden would put 3 justices in his first term.
Yep.
And
So,
he's already got one, so
but I think at some point, if they take it to the Supreme Court about him trying to ban books and what people can teach and what they can't teach, it's a violation of freedom of speech. And
mm,
I see the Supreme Court saying that he can't do that.
yeah. And there's a lot of lawsuits. I even felt lawsuits in I have a client in Texas and lawsuits in Texas about their transgendered bills and a lot of DOJ going after a lot of this stuff and taking it to court.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah. Oh, this is a good question. I just heard about this today. Um, Kelly asked, "Why is the New Zealand Prime Minister stepping down?"
I haven't heard that the prime minister was stepping down.
Yeah, I don't remember what her name is. I saw it vaguely today. Let me throw a couple cards on it.
I don't know why that she's stepping down, but the replacement will be excellent.
Yeah, do you feel like it's a male energy coming in?
I do feel some male energy.
Yeah, I feel like it's a male energy.
I maybe behind the scenes there was some scandals. That's what I'm picking up, but
Yeah, I feel like there's something she's nervous about, something that's really overwhelming that she's going through. It's just kind of what came to me.
could be
I'll throw
personal.
a card on it though. What was that, Mel?
It could be something personal in her
Yeah.
personal. Um, that's what I'm picking up.
All right. Oh, that's interesting. And I don't know her politics, but I just threw 3 cards, and it's all money related cards. She's coming in as the Queen of Pentacles, holding onto that Pentacles, Ace of Pentacles, and 9 of Pentacles, sitting pretty.
But I'm also picking up illness.
Yeah. So hopefully it's not a scandal due to taking money or money
No,
related.
I don't think it's that. I mean, there's something that, but I think she can. We're trying to do some sort of scandal, whatever. But something. But I also think her health isn't good. So
Mm,
that's what
yeah,
I'm
it could
picking up.
be. I feel like she's very overwhelmed or stressed out about something. All right.
David Crosby died today of Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. So sad. He was a great musician.
I think we've read on this before, but Viviani wants to know if Bolsonaro will go to jail.
Yes. and
I'm feeling yes too.
Santos will also have to go to Brazil to face trial for what he's done too.
Mm. With Bolsonaro, though, I do feel like he is really ill, though. That's just kind of coming through. Maybe that's what I think. That's why he was in Florida getting some kind of treatment, but he doesn't feel very well in his health. But I do feel like justice for him.
I do too, and for Santos as well. And I understand a lot of the constituents of Santos. They're screaming out about his lies and all of this and that.
Mm.
McCarthy won't do anything about it because he needs Santos's votes. But
Yeah,
the Democrat done something like that, they would have had him out already.
I don't think Santos is going to be in there long. I think actually before indictments come for some of the Congress people, I feel like he might be resigning or um like arrested. I see him getting out of there.
Ooh, when you said arrested, my light bulb went on.
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
see him
yes,
arrested.
yes, yeah. Oh, he will get arrested.
I think he might cave to the pressure before he's arrested, though.
He said he's not going to resign, so let's see.
Yeah, we'll see. I see him out though. All right.
Oh, Connie B says, I like those. And I just started. She goes, I don't know how those people can thwart the law. If it was any one of us brown or black people, people of color, we'd be slammed into jail ASAP.
Mm,
You're probably right about that,
yeah,
unfortunately. But I see all that changing. I do see more equality coming, and I see an end to all this xenophobia and an end to, there'll always be racism and bigotry, unfortunately, but that this small group controlling the rest of us, this is like an American apartheid going on. And
right.
ultimately, they're not going to be in power. The majority of us, our voices will be heard, and we'll take power back.
Mm. Yeah, I agree with that, Mel.
Notice what happened overnight. Notice when the Democrats had the House and the Senate and everything, it was smooth. You didn't have all this going on. And now that the MAGA people are thinking they're controlling the House, look at the chaos. Look at what they're doing
Mm,
and the dissension. And they want people to dislike each other. They want the anarchy. And
yeah,
boy, look what they've created in less than 2 weeks. It's like
they want to make a joke of our democracy.
they do. They don't care about democracy. They just care about their own power and their MAGA BS ideas and their
Mm.
QAnon beliefs.
Who has the most to gain though if our democracy looks like it's
Well, they think they do,
falling
but
apart?
guess what? It'll bite them in the butt too.
And Russia would love for our democracy to crumble. I mean, that's ultimately, or for the U.S. not to be taken seriously as a world power, because that's what I'm getting. Like all roads always lead back to Russia. All that funding. I've just pull up a question real quick because I got a hit on it when I saw it. Um, Izzy says, "Did Bannon bring in Santos?" And I immediately got a strong yes on that.
Ooh,
There's a connection there.
my psychic light bulb went on.
What are you getting, Mel?
I'll bet that's where some of the dark money came from.
Mm.
My light bulb just went on.
Maybe he needed some help from a con man to get him elected.
Yeah, right. Like Trump isn't, right?
Right, right. But yeah, I got a definite yes, and like I said, my intuition was flashing at that one.
That was a
No,
good.
that was a good question. I hadn't even thought of that. Oh, this is a I saw this earlier today. Carrie G wants to know if Alec Baldwin will go to jail with manslaughter. I wasn't feeling that either.
I can't
Um,
believe they charge him with manslaughter
that's
because
what I thought.
number one, he didn't know that the gun was loaded. He didn't put the bullet in there. Well, they have blanks in them. So, I mean, I mean, I heard somebody say, well, it's not a thing of guilt or innocence. Well, if they're charging with manslaughter, they're trying to say he's guilty of that.
Right.
So, anyway.
And he feels awful about it too. Um, just like tapping into his energy, I don't necessarily like it the most because I feel like he can be a little pompous and I don't know. I don't really love his energy tapping into it, but he truly feels so horrible for this happening. And I know that he's paid a lot of money, I think, to the family of the
I
person that
think
lost
they're
their
doing
life.
this well, I don't know if he was producing the movie or whatever.
He was producing.
Well, then that's probably why they charge him with that, but, in court, they're just gonna say it was accidental,
Mm,
and, if it's accidental, then nobody's held responsible. I think they're doing this is more maybe they don't like him politically and more is because there's an outcry, from the family and things like that for somebody to do something. I mean, it
mm,
is a tragedy. It's really
yeah,
sad that it happened, but I don't think he's guilty of manslaughter at all.
I agree.
And
And I
I
don't.
don't see
And
him going to jail, and I see him being found not guilty.
mm, I agree with you, Mel. That was my first feeling.
Oh, this is a good one. Ian McGrath. I like this. It's not a question. I just liked it.
He's um he's being charged with involuntary manslaughter,
It
or
doesn't
with
matter. I still
I
don't think
agree.
it'll hold up.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was picking up too, Mel. I didn't feel like I felt like he would get away with that, but I mean, he's struggled with this every day since it's happened.
I just put this one up by Ian McGrath. As I said, it's not
Mhm.
a question, but I like the comment. It's really cool. It's your channel. You read it.
Adam Schiff just said the repubs will not hold the House till 2024. Looks like some will be indicted. Andy Biggs, Scott Perry, Jim Jordan are good bets to start with. Yes.
And how about
MTG, Bobert,
Santos,
yeah.
Marjorie Taylor Greene,
Hmm.
Matt Gates is not out of the woods.
Oh, yeah. There's so many of them. It's hard to keep track of
Oh,
everybody.
and then they'll be
There's a
saying
lot.
it's a witch hunt and it's this and that. But you know what? My guides agree with Adam Schiff.
Yeah.
How's that?
I and I was watching. I think you were saying this last time we did a show together. I saw it on MSNBC. That I think on average, like 16 people in the Congress end up leaving or passing away between, um, midterm election cycles. So I think it's definitely very possible, and I feel like a really good chance that Dems will take control before the next
And
election.
I don't know. I think each state's different how they appoint a
I
House
think
member
they do special
assemblies.
elections.
But if they go up for a special election, a lot of those people that voted Republican would end up voting Democrat because they see the damage that's being done in the House and they
Mhm.
don't want it.
Yeah.
But the answer is they voted for those people in the first place. Many of them did.
Hmm.
Um, oh, Kelly Scarborough, that neo-Nazi Fuentes who had dinner with Trump got a MAGA crowd to cheer for Russia. Well, maybe yeah, but
It doesn't surprise
he
me.
did get a crowd to cheer for Russia, but it wasn't that big. They can make it look bigger, like people behind him.
Like
But my
Trump's
advice,
inauguration.
is let them go to Russia and live with Putin.
Yeah. And I've heard a lot of like MAGA people. I live in Ohio, so we have quite a few of them here. They would say better Russia than Biden or a Democrat.
Then what?
Um, they they would much rather better Putin than a Democrat or Biden.
Well, when they go there and they can't
Yeah,
get food and they can't use their Visa card or their Mastercard, no more McDonald's. Uh, they're not going to have what they have here. Then let's see how they sing about it.
yeah. Joni S says Michael Moore brought up that approximately 16 plus don't make full term normally. Thank you, Joni. I don't remember whose show he was on, but yeah, it was Michael Moore.
Yeah, and Michael Moore also said that he didn't think that the Republicans would hold the House.
Mm, just
So
very, just very narrowly. So he was definitely on. He was like the only one on the news that was talking against the big red wave. So he's been right twice.
there you go.
All right. Let's say, will abortion be reinstated in Texas and red states before 2024?
Um,
I don't know if it's before 2024. I'm sorry to say, SA. feel
at
like it might
some
be a
point,
little after.
when I see new justices on the court, I see a state like somebody in Texas filing a lawsuit uh, because they got an abortion and they were prosecuted or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I see it going to the Supreme Court, and I see the Supreme Court at some point upholding Roe v. Wade.
Mm-hmm.
Now they might say to the states, you can set, how many months along in pregnancy it has to be before somebody terminates a pregnancy, but it can't be within like 4 weeks. I think, within the first trimester. But I
Right.
see my guides tell me that Roe v. Wade at some point will be upheld.
I
Really,
agree.
the court didn't overturn it; they just kicked it back to the states.
Right. Right.
And now these House Republicans, the MAGA ones, are
Mm.
trying to pass a law to ban abortion through the whole country, but it'll never get to the Senate. If it goes,
Schumer wouldn't take
it
it
will
on the
never make it
floor.
to the Senate floor.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to
Yeah, I
happen.
agree. And clearly they didn't learn their lesson from this last election, did they? That's
I'm sorry.
that's why it said Republicans that are trying to pass anti-abortion bills clearly didn't learn their lesson from 2022 midterms, because they were supposed to have this giant red wave, and women and independent people came out because they don't want to be told what they can do with their bodies.
Well, actually, it wasn't a red wave; it was a pink
Right.
trickle. It wasn't even.
It wasn't even.
And a lot of the states that typically had been Republican went Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think
I
the only thing that cost us in this midterm was, um, and maybe because in New York and California, um, they really didn't have a whole lot to worry with their women's rights being taken away. But a lot of people didn't go out to vote in those states. They're very expensive states too, so I think the inflation really kind of hit them hard. But um,
Well, I think what these MAGA people are trying to do in the House is that they don't raise the debt ceiling. And I think that what'll happen is that some moderates will reach across the aisle to
mhm,
raise it. But I think what they're trying to do, the MAGA Trumplicans, is they don't care if the stock market takes a crash, because that's what would happen. It would take a huge dip. It would cause us to go into a major recession. It
mhm,
would cause prices to go up again. It would weaken the dollar. They don't care. The reason they're doing it is because then they can blame the Democrats and saying, well, the Democrats were spending too much anyway, so that's why we didn't raise the debt ceiling, to try to make it look bad for the Dems. But really, they're making it look bad for themselves. I know what.
yeah, I was gonna say, it's going to backfire.
Well, here's the deal, though. Raising the debt ceiling, people think, is to spend more money. It isn't.
Mhm,
It's to pay the debts we've already incurred.
right.
And you know what? Part of that debt ceiling was made by Trump. He spent more money than any president in American history.
Yeah.
And so we're
Biden's
still,
actually taking money from the deficit.
right. So we're still feeling the repercussions of that. So them not
Mhm,
raising the debt ceiling, they talk about the government spending too much. It has nothing to do with what the government is going to spend. It has to do with the government paying back what is already borrowed against.
right.
That's what it's
Yeah.
all.
And you know what? It's going to backfire on them. And I'm sorry, the one thing you don't do is mess with people's money. And um, yeah, even their own constituents will not be happy. I feel like it's going to be okay with the debt ceiling, but I do feel as they tap in, there's a lot of worry and anxiety. I think it's going to be like really close to that deadline mark, but I think they'll eventually cave, or um, they'll get enough bipartisan support to get it passed. It's going to be really close though.
Well, the thing is, if they don't raise the debt ceiling, people aren't going to get their Social Security checks.
Right?
Their employees
Yeah.
aren't going to get paid.
I'm saying.
They're not going to get paid. It's not going to be good. Kevin, I
Yeah.
have one question. It's
Yeah.
after sometimes people comment, I keep notices saying pink hand waving, pink hand waving. What does that mean? I don't know what that means.
If you're on your, it's an emoji that it
Oh,
doesn't register on your computer.
I just want to make sure it wasn't a bot
Mhm.
trying to get in.
No, they're emojis.
I got it. All righty.
All right. Let's see.
And somebody brought up a good comment that says, even with the gerrymandering, Betty Cantrell, even with the gerrymandering, a lot of Democrats still won.
Right, right. There was a big district in Ohio that was flipped from Republican. No, they redistricted it to make the Democrat lose, and the Democrats still kept it.
There you go.
Yeah,
Celtic Sears on board. Hi, Celtic Sear.
Celtics here. Arlene says if the Secret Service planted the docs at Biden's, who gave docs to Secret Service?
I don't know. I thought about that. I'm thinking, could it have been somebody in the National Archives and they just didn't, the documents they got, they just didn't catalog them? I don't
Mm.
know. Uh, or the Secret Service could have had a hold of them. I know what the question's leading to. That did they come from Trump? But I don't think so. Trump wasn't president then. But I
Mm.
think uh, I
It came
can't
from
say.
a Trumpist, though, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was Secret Security. I felt like it might have been from the DOJ because I was feeling like the leak of information to the press. There was definitely I was picking that up as being like put out there by somebody from the DOJ that had knowledge of it. Um,
That was a
but
good
yeah,
one.
definitely very sketchy and the timing's very suspicious, isn't it?
Well, somebody's from the Secret Service going to come forward and say where the documents came from
Mm,
and who put them in. There's a couple whistleblowers that'll step up. I'm telling you. You know, things will leak like a sieve pretty soon, or sieve, however you say it, pretty soon. You'll see.
yeah,
Here you go, Kevin. There's
I was
$10
going to
from
say thank
Sharon.
you, Sharon Coon. Blessings. Appreciate that. Well, while we're talking about the Secret Service, Deborah asks, will there be a cleanup in the Secret Service? Thank you both. I see them going through it. Even the
I think,
DOJ.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was
I
going to say, I feel a cleanup in the DOJ, Secret Service. Um, yeah, it takes time, though, to kind of weed out the crazies.
I
People,
think that Biden is very frustrated with the Secret Service right now, and I think they're going through weeding out all the people who they can't get rid of them because they supported Trump. But what they can do is go through and see, okay, who's leaking information, who's behind all this, and they will find out.
yeah.
And
It just hit me,
I see a new
too.
director coming for the Secret Service.
What was that, Mel?
I see a new director coming in for the Secret Service.
Okay. As we're talking about this too, do you remember the story about Biden's dog attacking people in the Secret Service? Do you feel like that was something that was planted?
I never heard the story. His German Shepherd?
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe he was biting the Trumplicans.
Right. He could.
Probably why the
Well,
poor dog
dogs are
died.
great. They're a great test of character, aren't they? They're
I
very
suppose.
intuitive in themselves.
Well, the Bidens got a new dog, I think, right?
Yeah, and well, and the other dog I think is at their home in Delaware with
Aw.
family.
Um, well, I can't say what I was going to say.
Aries Wanderers wants to know what you're drinking. Is it orange soda?
Oh, it's not alcohol. It's I don't drink a lot of pop, but I do drink ginger ale diet occasionally. And this I love orange Fanta, but I get the diet. So whenever I'm doing a show, I always have something to drink because my throat gets dry
Hmm.
and I don't want to like so
Yeah, I'm drinking a Coke. I need a little bit of a pick me up, just a little bit of caffeine.
so it's my orange pop. We say pop, some people say soda, some
Yeah,
people say soft drink.
most people say pop here in Ohio. I just don't like the way it sounds. I try to say soda.
Well, we never said it in Kentucky. We said soft drink, but when I moved here, it
Mm.
was always pop. Oh, good. Celtic's here. Mercury is now direct, and Uranus goes direct on Sunday. Thank
Oh, nice.
this
I
has been
pick
a
up
rough,
March will be an important month to Celtics here.
this has been a rough Mercury retrograde. That's one
Sure
planet
has.
that can blow out of the sky.
I've had two issues with my car.
Oh,
I had a brake line break, and then I had to pass an e-check and emissions testing, and that didn't end up happening because I have a small leak in my evap system, so I had to get a waiver for that. So yeah, it's not been fun.
it's been. I, I was going to ask the doctor to prescribe Valium. No, I'm teasing. Give me a big bottle. I can eat my way out. Anyway,
Linda J says, "Is there a connection between Putin and Melania and her family?" There's a connection, but I don't think it doesn't feel like a strong connection. Is what I'm picking up.
see, I got to know on that.
Hmm.
If it is, if there is a connection, it's not a big deal. I don't think
Yeah,
it's
I
anything to
agree.
write home about.
I'm not saying Melania having a huge connection with Putin. Maybe Epstein, but all right. And of course, these videos are for entertainment purposes only. Well, this is a good one.
There was a
Lena,
Secret Service director, Reinhold Neininger, says there was a new Secret Service director sworn in. Good.
okay.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. Um, Lena Delgado says, anything on immigration reform. I'm a U.S. citizen living in the shadows for my husband. Love you guys.
Um, um, I do. Once the House changes, and
Hmm.
once we get some new justices on the court, I keep thinking the people under DACA, they'll just make
Yeah.
citizens, and the people who have been living in this country for many, many years, even if they're green card, even if they never had a green card, provided they enter the country legally and they've been working here paying taxes,
Mm.
I see them, a way for them to become citizens. They might have to pay a fine and they might have to wait for all the other people who have been waiting to get citizenship. But I do ultimately see them being made citizens.
I actually feel, and I agree with you, Mel. I feel like huge pushes for immigration reform, and I actually feel like parts of it might be bipartisan. It doesn't feel like it's too far off. I feel like 2024, even
I mean,
before the
say
president.
again, Kevin. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I said I feel like there's some immigration reform. It might be bipartisan and coming in even before the presidential election in 2024. I
Yeah.
see that really ramping up and becoming huge, and people coming together and really working on that. It's a shame it's taken so long.
The other thing I think is what's going on in the house. I just go back to the house.
Mm.
I'm sorry, I'm changing gears again.
Oh,
My
you're fine.
ADD is kicking in. This is psychic. It just came through from my guides. Is that
Yeah.
what they're doing is trying to make Biden look bad, thinking that he won't run again, because what they're thinking
Mm.
is if Trump does run, then he could have a chance to win, and they don't want any competition against Trump that might beat Trump or some MAGA Republican. And
I
so
think too, as you were kind of saying that, I think they don't want Biden to run so that or they want to rile up the Democratic Party and get people to challenge Biden.
it's not going to happen.
Hmm.
And you keep saying that the Republican Party is going to fracture,
Oh
and
yeah,
it's starting.
it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Well, that there's going to be some moderate Republicans that are going to get tired of the MAGA minority controlling everybody else,
Mm.
and that will want the old order Republicans back. Um, you know, I keep saying, and this is the thing I heard on television, that some of these MAGA Republicans that were elected was like a drunken hangover from the days of Trump,
Yeah.
and hangovers do go away. Uh, but unfortunately, some people keep drinking the same Kool-Aid. But
Right.
all right.
Well, somebody, and I heard about this
Bye,
on the news.
Mary.
Travel says, what's the story behind the Scottsdale, Arizona shutting off the water to a neighboring town, now that the town has no water whatsoever? Is this the future of our country? They should have given some heads up. I agree, but it's definitely because they're having issues with the drought and having water availability.
I don't think they did it to be mean. I just think that it's like water rationing because of the
Hmm.
drought. I
Yeah,
remember back in the 60s when I was a kid, that in New York State, and other places, there was a water shortage because there
yeah.
was a drought. And when you go in restaurants, you didn't get a glass of water. You had to ask for it, even then. So they were water rationing. And I mean, they should have given the other county thumbs up, but I think it's just a part of rationing.
Mm.
That's what
Connie
I see.
B, yeah, Connie B says that town was unincorporated. They did have notice. Yeah, I see it being tough for a while, unfortunately. But I do see like some progress coming in like the next few years with some of the drought. It's just it's hard to pinpoint too because everything's so regionalized. So like we just saw all this water in California and all that devastation, which will help. But there's so many areas being affected by the
But at
drought.
some point, I think within the next few days, they'll have to turn the water back on because you can't let people be without water.
Right. We're getting water brought in.
That's what I see.
Hmm. All right. Susan, we already read on that. We both felt like Putin is very, very weak, but not passed yet. All right. Lots of people asking about Putin tonight.
Oh, this is a really good one. I gotta
Yeah.
I gotta bring this one up. This is really good. Um, this is good. This is good, Paula O. Go ahead, Kevin.
Oh, will they ever make politicians be vetted before they are elected? Yeah, there's definitely a lot of reforms. A lot of reforms in like the House and Senate, also the Supreme Court. People having to be vetted. I think the thing that Trump's taught us is, had he actually been forced to share his tax returns and all of that, things could have been very different. So I definitely see a lot of rules being put in place to vet people.
Well, I think they're going to do background checks, and I see legislation coming to say if anybody's got any kind of felony conviction, especially maybe I don't know what type. Misdemeanor is different, like traffic tickets, but any sort of felony conviction, then they can't run. I
Mm,
think, uh, or it would depend on the conviction, but I don't know if that's constitutional or not. But let the Supreme Court handle that. But a lot of states are going to start vetting their candidates very carefully.
good.
So here, President Biden said recently that Secret Service claimed his dog bit one of the Secret Service guys, but in the personal residences of the president and the White House where the Secret Service is prohibited,
Mhm.
he was very suspicious. Geez, I hope the
I
dog's
don't
okay.
know why that just came to me when we were talking about that too. So,
I hope the dog's okay.
hmm. Mario wants to know when food prices will go down. It depends because I think some things are starting to come down, and then we see like what's going on with eggs and chicken with bird flu. But it's going to take some time to get prices down. A lot of it's price gouging, not reflecting things coming down like the gas prices and all of that. But I see things getting better. It's going to take a little while though. I think like by summer though.
Sheila Inquisitive Terrell says Secret Service doesn't have the clearance to plant the docks. Get off that, you guys. Well, my response is they might not have the clearance, but some way or another, I think the Secret Service had their hands in it. And
Mm.
so I don't know about clearance, but when did that stop anybody? Anyway, so food
All right.
prices, yes, I see them going down, absolutely. But if they don't get this debt ceiling going, everything's going to go up. We're going to
Right,
be
right.
so.
Yeah, and like I said, for me, like summer just came to mind. I feel like things really starting to feel better by the summertime. Joni says my favorite bacon went back down. Well, that's always great.
I'm sorry.
Um, Joni says my favorite bacon went back down in price. I said that's a great thing.
I love
All
it.
right, you guys. Um, let's see. Christine wants to know will they send Bolsonaro and Santos on a plane back to Brazil? No, I don't think so. But that would be funny, wouldn't it?
Well, I see Santos back in Brazil.
Mm.
So when he flies to another country, he better be careful because, the Brazilians might be waiting him at the airport to pick him up and take him back.
Well, I think we have an extradition clause with Brazil, so
There you go.
I feel like he's getting in trouble here first, though. That's
Kevin,
what
I
I would
just sent you a
consider happening.
message.
Okay, give me just a sec. Um, one of these I've already answered. Well, we kind of answered this one already, but do you see a delay in Social Security if they don't pass the debt ceiling? I think they're going to get it beforehand.
Yeah, I think right under the wire. That's what I'm picking up.
Yeah, and if it does go over, it's like fixed like really shortly after. But I think it's going to be okay. Okay.
Sheila, I
Ooh,
disagree with you. I'm telling you that there's something that came from the Secret Service, but I'm not getting an argument about it. So
let's all behave, you guys. We can all agree to disagree, and that is okay. All right. Ted Williams says, "Is Ginny Thomas the leaker in Roe v. Wade?" I think Linda was hitting on that today, because they just said that their investigation, they couldn't find who the leaker was in the investigation.
uh, I'm not getting anything on that one. I apologize. So,
Okay. I can throw a couple cards on it. Ginny Thomas wasn't the first person that came to my mind. Um, Before I felt like it was a clerk, but I'll just throw a card and see if I get a yes or no real quick. All right. Ginny Thomas. Yeah, I'm not getting she's the leaker, but I definitely see she's got a lot to be worried about going into the future. So
I just picked up nothing on it. So usually when I don't pick up anything, it means a no, but
yeah, it's not like resonating with you. Yeah, we kind of talked about this already, Spire. Um, Asked if Satan will be able to be stopped about American history being taught in Florida. And we definitely picked up some lawsuits about that. All right. Sharon Kuhn says frozen. Are we frozen, you guys? I'm not seeing any delay in my internet. And I can hear Mel okay, so
I don't know.
somebody will tell us. It might be her connection. No. Okay, thank you. All right, you guys, let's do another question or two before we wrap up. Teddy Williams wants to know, he says, love y'all. Will Jack Smith take out MTG, hopefully here in Atlanta? I see him. He's looking at MTG. I have always felt like she might get in trouble for um, January 6th. Do you feel Jack Smith eyeing up MTG, Mel?
I do.
Mhm.
My guides have shown me that all along. Um, and, I think the special counsel that Merrick Garland appointed to investigate Biden and the
Mhm.
papers, I think the Secret Service had their hand in. Uh, I think that he's going to find nothing. It's going to be, as they say, as Linda Grindle would say, a nothing burger.
Yeah.
So, but Jack Smith will clearly uh, uncover many layers of the onion,
Mhm.
if you will.
Yes. Love that.
People are asking. There's a Russian ship, a spy ship,
Yeah.
off the
I
coast
was
of
just gonna
Hawaii.
click on that.
And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump ahead, but people are
No,
nervous.
no, you're fine, Mel. Is there anything that you're picking up with it?
I think it's a show of force. I think that Putin and his thugs are trying to say this is a threat to the United States. But you know
Hmm.
what? It's off the coast of Kauai, but I don't think that the people in Kauai are frightened by it. And it's just like during the Cold War, they had these big parades with showing nuclear weapons and a force,
Mm.
force. I
Trying to look good.
clearly, I yeah. I mean, it's they don't. I will tell you this: if they come within U.S. waters, that ship will be confiscated.
Mm.
So they're just far enough outside international water to try to be threatening. But it's a threat. But it's a threat that it, to use the vernacular, won't hold water.
Mm.
It's
Yeah,
just to
and I'm not really
make
picking up a
people
whole.
afraid. It's to make
Mhm,
people afraid, and I think it's a play up to the
mhm.
ultra right MAGA people who like Putin, and it's a threat, but it won't work.
Yeah. I was just gonna say I'm not really picking up a whole lot with that. So I agree with Mel. I think it was more just like a play and showing their forces trying to intimidate.
Oh, Mimi Rose said the prosecutor against Alec is a big Trumper. Well, that explains it. And I kind of my guides kind of show me
Mm,
it was political. So
yeah. Well, yeah. I'm sure they didn't like his SNL um, playing Trump. So, but I see. Like we both said, neither of us see charges going through for him. Or
I don't think so.
not. Naja asks, "Will Biden recover from the document?" Um,
The answer
the
is yeah.
document. Yeah, I see this really being kind of a couple months process and really kind of it's a quick investigation. And sure, we're going to see Republicans and those on that news network that we don't mention here continuing to try to bring it up. But when things really come out and are exposed on Trump, everybody's going to see they're not even anywhere near on the same level. So I do see Biden recovering from this.
And I
Couple
still
months irritation.
and I still see somebody coming forward saying that the documents that many of them were planted.
Mm,
So that's what I see. I'm not going to change what I see.
yeah, that's what we all there's been times where I've disagreed with other readers, and I respect everybody's information that they're receiving, and that's okay. Like I said, I feel there's something definitely very suspicious with the timing, and for me, it felt like I was picking up on things being leaked to the press. Um, but yeah, it's definitely the energy sketchy with that.
I agree. Totally agree.
Oh, Linda G's watching. She said
Hi, Linda.
someone said, "Hi, Linda."
Linda's
That someone
absolutely
said,
Linda is absolutely one of the best psychics I've ever met and worked with.
yes.
She's amazing.
Um, she said that someone said FBI cannot have classified documents. That's not true. Just looked it up.
I think it was a Secret Service, they said.
Yeah. Oh,
Mel, do I go to the big and tall store for my shirts? Well, I'm only 5'9", but I'll do like Linda Grindle says. They're a petite large.
there you go.
You can go online and get them. I think this one's a Tory Roberts. A lot of them I bought in Hawaii over the years, and when I see them, sometimes there's Hawaiiana shops in Hawaii, and you can pick up a good Aloha shirt, that's vintage, and this one I've had for like 15 years. It's pure silk, and
Hmm.
actually it says small, but it must have been two sizes too big when I bought it because it fits me now.
I like that shirt, Mel.
Yep, thank
It
you.
looks very comfortable. I love the all the pineapples and the gold and black.
It says Aloha. I thought Sweden did
Oh,
join.
aloha.
Yelman says Turkey is preventing Sweden from joining NATO. Will Sweden become NATO members in the future? I thought Sweden did join NATO.
I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't think that they've joined yet, but I'm like I said, I could be wrong. I don't know for sure. I remember Turkey was giving Sweden some issues, but I see Sweden going through and becoming a member of
I think
NATO.
Finland did.
Maybe it was Finland then.
No, no, no. I don't know. I have to look it up. Well, Putin clearly doesn't want uh, Sweden to join NATO because if he does, hey, Linda just gave $49.99. Yay,
Oh,
Linda!
thank you so much, Linda. It's very
Oh,
kind of you.
that was nice,
The
Linda.
three of us have to do a show together here soon.
Yeah, we got to do a collab.
Yeah,
Collab.
collab.
I think I think Sweden got some crazy nutball as a president and their parliament, but that won't last long. But
Mm,
I think Putin doesn't want Sweden to join NATO because he thought he could go through the Baltic republics and then go into Sweden. But I see Sweden in NATO. And,
Yeah, me too.
now we kind of know underhanded who's Turkey supporting, don't we?
Mm. Yeah, there's definitely a little bit of a connection there. Um,
I agree.
somebody's, I lost that. I don't remember what that was. All right, you guys, let's end on one last question. We've been on for about an hour. We can are you picking up any earthquake activity on the West Coast?
Minor, yes. Well,
Mm,
there's a volcano there, and I don't know if it's going to erupt big time, but sometimes if they start acting up, it can cause earthquakes and things like
mm.
that. So I forget what volcano that is in Washington State, but I'm not saying it's going to erupt.
Yeah,
You see some earthquake activity, but it's not, as Linda Grindle says, it won't be Armageddon.
yeah.
I got to stop stealing her lines. I'm sorry, Linda.
I don't know if it's Washington or if it's Oregon, but it feels like it's like close to that border area is what I'm picking up. But I agree with Mel. I don't think that it's Armageddon, as Linda would say. It
So
feels a
what was
little bit
our
on the
answer on
minor
Putin? And
side.
the answer is, I feel he's still alive, but I see illness all around him.
Oh yeah, absolutely. What was our answer? Oh, and you just answered that. Yeah, we were both picking up major illness. I was seeing him bedridden, so he's very weak.
No middle name says, I wonder if George Santos will ever tell the truth. No. When you know he's lying, he opens his mouth.
Right. All right. All right, you guys. Well, this was fun. I always enjoy hanging out with you all, and Mel. It's always a really good time. So if you could all do me a favor, please hit that thumbs up. If you haven't and you're watching, please subscribe to my channel. Help me get to 6,000 subscribers. And please go over to Mel's channel and subscribe if you haven't already. So, Mel, if anybody's looking to get a hold of you for a reading, how can they contact you?
They can call my office, 847-590-5411, or email me, www.meldoerr, meldoerr.com. And they
Perfect.
can
I think
also
I
use
have it.
that. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I think I have it in the description box, but if I don't, I'll definitely add it after the show.
And they can also use that information to inquire about Italy.
Nice. All right, you guys. Well, this was fun. I hope that you all enjoy the rest of your evening. Me and Mel will do a show next week, Thursday. Your
Yes.
channel.
Yes, you got it.
Sounds good. All right, you guys. You all take care. Sending you all a lot of love and blessings, and talk to you all real soon. Bye, everyone.